It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery.
I wonder what's in the bag today.
So, Maddie, I took this little basket into nursery, into one of the projects I'm doing just now, and I was delighted. I literally put it in the basket and I just carried it in. But the children were like, "What's in there? What have you got today, Alice? What you got today?" And actually, it made me realise that I always give tough spots a bad name. But what I don't mean is it's not the tough spots' fault. I realise it is the inordinate amount of time and effort and energy that we spend setting it up.
And also, I don't think that it gives you that interest, that because it's all visual, everybody can see what's happening. Not very many people cover them up or hide things, and
so it kind of highlighted what I was meaning by that. To me, it's about the children. When my answer was, "Oh, I wonder what," and so they're anticipating, they are guessing, they're hypothesizing, they're predicting, they're saying mad ideas, so they're demonstrating there's a dinosaur.
But I think we have used this piece of material for years and years, and I have never noticed
the trees.
No, the trees on it before, so that because of the way it's
you can see it on some bits better than others, I guess. And so we were in the garden, Mary, because as you go in, you go through the garden to get into the nursery, and they were just so excited. So I sat down on a bench, and we sat down, and they wanted to desperately open it. So one of the wee ones pulled the cloth away, and immediately noticed this.
Right.
So
okay.
It's a nest, a bird's nest, and they guessed that straight away. And so we manhandled it out, and it was hard, and we were trying to, and they were like, "Oh, there's something in here." And eventually they got it out quite nicely, but I put it in too tightly now and can't get it out. And so when they took it out, they recognised immediately that there was wood and ferns and moss, and it's real moss, and they all commented on that, and they talked about how soft and tickly and all sorts, and there's sticks and things.
But actually, Alice, I don't know, when I've been using this in training, how many educators know about real moss? Because when you say to people, "That's real moss," they're like, "Is it? I've never experienced it
and
before."
I can remember we were doing something with Bella. Bella was like that. No, it's not real moss. And you're like,
yeah,
it's real moss. And so I guess though, Mary, where do you meet moss normally? You meet it on the bark of a tree or on a stone. So it wouldn't be as plentiful, I guess, as this.
No.
And yeah, I mean,
but
I wonder
the smell and the texture and the feel. Oh, it's just amazing.
It's mossy. There's no doubt about
I
that.
like the smell.
Well, I don't mind it. But and so we were looking at the sticks, and some of the children said they looked like bones and things.
Yeah.
And then of course they desperately wanted to know what else was in the basket. Now I met what's in here. Well, I'm not telling you because that would spoil it for you. But even this, as you said, Mary, this. So when we're on a table, I wasn't on a table, I was on a bench. But this can set the scene beautifully rather than a tough spot, and you can start to really, we call these bits of material that we have our bits tangled up in, ponder pods, and we've got hundreds of them.
Yeah, and usually it's not as big a piece, is it? It can be, but quite often it's a smaller piece of material.
And can I point this out to you? Mary and I are very different in the way we approach play.
Yes, very, very different.
And so we have a set of, how many do you think we've got? 20, 30?
Yep.
30 fonder pods, which is basically a piece of material. So in fact, turn around, Mary. When Mary's finished with this top, we would cut a patch out of it, or the bottom was slightly bigger.
Just a bit.
We would cut a slice out of it. She couldn't wear the top again, and we'd create it into a ponder pod. So you don't have to buy them. And a few years ago, do you remember when we thought about doing something different with them?
Oh yeah, we actually went to a company, didn't we? And we asked them to design a pod for us. And basically it was a bit like a shower cap, I would say. It was kind of elasticated but open, and then we decided against it, didn't we? Because it just wasn't giving the children that imagination, but also the skills.
We often tie it or tangle it at the end of a session or before a session starts. So the children immediately have to work. It's not Ta-da!
Here it is. You found it.
Here's all the dinosaurs.
And actually, I really like putting something that you're not expecting into the
Well, you do that all the time because I use a pod and I'm like, where did this come from? So let me untangle it and just show you what's inside. So we have all these little birds. Now I met these. It's on social actually when I went to Findale when I was working at Hope, and I did a feely bag thing. It's on the internet. And it was a cardboard box with yellow in it, and I had to put my hands in and discover it. Now I had seen the birds, and I have a set here, and so I recognised the blue tit because he's got slightly longer tail than the rest of the birds.
And was that the first
well,
one?
Well, they
you
were
touched?
really surprised. Hope were really surprised that I could do that. But I looked at the resources. I love materials, and so I had really studied them. But so when we brought these out, I thought it was really interesting. The first thing they took out, in fact, because I let them put one hand in at a time, things were the eggs. So this set of eggs here.
And I wonder if that's because that is something that they maybe are aware of and know, and whereas if it's other things that they're putting in and feeling and they don't know what there are, I maybe want the thing that I'm familiar with.
I didn't think about that. And so they were excited about them, and they talked about the speckled and the plain and the bigger and smaller and heavier and lighter and all that kind of thing. And there were 6 of them, and immediately wee Ewan and Rory, they desperately wanted to know how many birds there were, and there's only 5 birds.
Oh, who laid 2 eggs?
Well, I actually think there's another egg, because I think there was 7 of them, but it must be in my bag. But then all of the children, and this is what always surprises me, all of the children knew the robin.
Yeah.
They struggled with, they did crow, they did raven, blackbird, so some of them got it right. And then they kind of struggled with the other ones. But also, Mary, so did the adults.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, so I know that one, but I don't know these 2, I don't think.
Blue tit. Yeah. Now, there is, I should have done this before we made the video, there is a description of the birds in Hope, and as soon as you look them up, you can, they're exactly like that. It's just that we don't remember them. And so here's the thing, guys. We can't possibly remember all the dinosaurs' names and all the flower names and all the tree names and all the fish names and the tilapia, cod, the haddock, whatever. And it's the same with the birds. But when we are going to use the resource, we should have a quick idea of what a recap of what is there.
Especially if there's 5 birds. Yeah. So we should know the 5 names of these birds.
I think this is a chaffinch or a thrush it's not a dove. Not a pig. Yeah, and so I didn't do my homework before we made the video. Yeah, and I used these yesterday.
And I have to say, dinosaurs, I'm never going to remember them. Never, ever, because I find them really challenging, dinosaurs.
And it was interesting because one of the nursery I was in, they had set up for the next day, and we were all going home, and we were reflecting on what we had done that kind of session, and the dinosaurs were out on a tabletop, not on a tough tray. And I said, just putting a piece of material over the top of them, or wrapping each of the dinosaurs in crepe paper or silver foil or something, just one day would make the invitation, the provocation slightly different.
And I'm starting to think of schema.
and so the reality was that when I asked the adults about those dinosaurs, Mary, and here's the thing, their answer was, well, the children know them all.
All right.
And so which is fair enough, because lots of children do, but what about the children who don't?
Yeah.
And then Erin said, well, the names are on the bottom. But we shouldn't rely on that.
No, it doesn't.
They're certainly not carved into the birds.
And it's not as effective. I mean, what you've probably noticed is that I'm very gentle with the birds because they've deserved
You're modeling,
that. Yeah. So if I'm picking it up and looking at them, it just isn't as effective, is it? Yeah. So
And when they were talking about what they did with the dinosaurs that day, they were explaining they put them in a row. One child put them in a row, and the other child was making them talk to each other, and the other child was making them fight. And I said, so your job then is not to name the dinosaurs, but to extend them, or see which you've got a lovely line of dinosaurs. So I wonder how many of them eat vegetarian, or how many eat meat. And I don't care that you don't know the carnivore and all that kind of stuff, but have a conversation.
Yeah, and that language that you're modelling there is actually probably language that they hear at the snack table or at lunchtime and things like that as well.
But what was really interesting is well as the birds and the lovely these bits and pieces, I've got a set of stones here. Now you'll not be able to see them on camera, but I'm going to just move the material slightly, Mary, over to you if that's
Yeah.
okay. And realistically, what we spent a huge amount of time doing is I said, well, I'm going to, and all of these stones, there's something interesting about them. And one of the wee girls, actually, Alicia, said, well, they've got lines on. And I said, well, I'm going to pick this one. I said, why don't you? And so she picked one, and then another child picked another, and then another child picked another. And depending on joining the lines, am I going in the wrong direction here for the camera to see it? Joining the lines on these dots every time. So we did it, and I took a picture. And then
And did you plan for that, Alice?
No, I did not plan for it. Didn't plan for any of this at all. And so I planned that I knew that the children would love what I took in, and I hoped they would do X, Y, and Z. But they did X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Because you can't, the freedom of allowing them to do it is really important. But every time, and the children were excited to flick through the iPad on the Padlet at the end of the session and see
the
how often and how much, and then they'd made circles and put a bird in each in the middle and da da da. So there was hundreds of learning out of a ponder pod, a pod to ponder.
And there wasn't hundreds of stuff in there as well, because sometimes I think we do put far too much stuff out. Yeah,
absolutely overwhelmed children. So for me, this was about mystery. It was about discovery. It was about not putting everything out on the table or the tusswhat or the floor and saying, "Da-da! We're going to do this."
Yep.
So I guess the question to the people who are listening and watching is how often, because I don't do it all the time, but how often do we spend time thinking about mystery, discovery, anticipation? I don't know that we do it often.
No.
Kind of lost.